Hello my friends, welcome back, and if this is your first time passing by, I'm Gigi. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch my review. Today we're talking all about new Makeup by Mario palette. I thought it was necessary to go ahead and do so, even though many reviews are up already. I thought I'll just share my thoughts on the palette anyways. I am going to be using it. As you can see, I have it right on my eyes right now. So let's talk about this palette. So first off, this is called Ethereal Eyes by Makeup by Mario. It retails for 85 Canadian dollars, and it is a multi-finish eyeshadow palette with 12 neutral translucent shades in Soot and Matte, Natural Metallic, and Glossy Shimmer finishes. This is Mario's dream palette with 12 new signature shades that creates effortless ethereal eye looks. It features 3 unique finishes: Soot Mattes, Natural Metallics, and first ever Glossy Shimmers. The mattes offer our enhanced grip-rich color. Natural Metallics feature micronized pigments for a seamless application, and Glossy Shimmers, a first-of-its-kind formula, are infused with pearls coated with emollient binders to impact and reflective wet-like shine on the eyelids. So let's move on to the demo portion of the video. I'm going to show you how I created this eye look, and I'm going to take you through each shade that I use. First off, I started with the first E1 shade, which is a cream shade. I applied that all over my lid just to sort of like set it. After concealer, I did not apply any primer. Then I went ahead with the shade E3 and I applied that in my crease area, focusing more on the outer V of my eyes. Then I went ahead with the shade E9. I applied that again on my crease area in outer V. Shade E9, I applied that again on my crease area in outer V, and I applied a little bit of E12 right in the outer corner. As you can see, I was very careful with it. I didn't want this look to be very dark, so I just applied a little bit of it, and I just concentrated it in the outer V closer to my lash line, and every shade applied really good. I have to say that all of them mostly are very powdery, and we'll talk about that in a second. Then I went ahead and applied the shade E6. I applied that with my finger to begin with, and then I applied the shade E3 with a brush. I went ahead and built those up with the brush, and this is pretty much everything that I did. Then for my lower lash, I mixed a little bit of E12 and E9, and I call it a day. That's how I created this eye look. So now I usually like to live swatch my shadows, so let's go ahead and do that. That's 1, 2, and 3. Excuse my awful broken nail. So this is a look of 1, 2, and 3. You get 2 mattes in there, and let's go ahead and swatch 4, which is the last one in the first row. So this is 1, 2, 3, and 4 shade swatch. Now let's do the next row. And I did go ahead and swatch this in store, so I already have an idea of the colors. So next row are these ones up here. This is the first metallic that we're swatching. Then we have mattes, and these are the glossy that he talks about. We've swatched 2 of them so far. Let's move on to the next row. Brown, another glossy. We have 1 metallic, and last but not least, let me wipe my finger, we have the matte brown. So this is the last one in the last row. Then we have another glossy, metallic, and then we have that brown. So this is a look at the palette. You can tell that it is more neutral than warm. This is one of the only warm shades that you can see in the palette. I made sure to stay away from that shade, that gray shade. I really don't like that on my skin tone. I feel like it just looks very just gray, like just makes me look biff, and so I didn't want to apply that. But other than that, I must say that they all swatch and apply really nicely. They're very, 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 very powdery. When you put your brush into these, they're so soft. You're gonna pick up a lot of shade. It's just a lot of it. So keep that in mind that you may want to do your eyes last. I did had a fallout from those ethereal glossy shades because they're very, very beautiful and just like so soft to the touch. I don't see them getting hard pan anytime soon. So to be honest, on Instagram what comparisons you wanted to see, and a lot of you said this one with, you know, like Patrick Ta palette, and let's put them side by side. I do feel like Patrick Ta is very, very warm compared to Makeup by Mario. A little bit of similarities they do come with, like these shades up here, that they don't have a lot of pigment into the shadow. So like here they don't have a lot of pigment. So these shades from the Patrick Ta palette are very, very similar to the ones to the Ethereal palette, but I feel like Patrick Ta's are already getting a little bit hard pan, to be honest. I have to be very, very rough in there and like sort of like scrape the top, because the shades don't have a lot of pigment to them. They're very translucent. They bring that glossy effect to the eyes, but I feel like Mario did a really nice job at that. Like when it comes to this formulation, I remember like swatching Patrick Ta's and really liking it, but already feeling a little bit of hard pan coming, you know, very, very newly into the palette. I don't feel like that's the case with these ones by Makeup by Mario. Like they're very, very beautiful. I really like this formula, to be honest. Like this glossy formula that he has in here, I really like it. I feel like he did something really nice with it. So when it comes to comparisons again with Patrick Ta, I feel like his first volume is just way, way more warm, as you can see, than Makeup by Mario. Then we have volume 2, which, you know, only the pink in here is gonna be similar. Other than that, you don't get many similarities, but I did wanted to put them side by side because I was asked to. I also wanted to put Natasha Denona's palette by Makeup by Mario. So this is the light palette. So this is what they look like side by side. You can see that they're a little bit similar, but Natasha's dueling, again, very warm. Like you wouldn't think that they'll be so warm. I'm gonna swatch all the mattes so you get the pinkish, the brown, and then the deepest brown. These are the 3 shades in the Natasha Denona. Beautiful mattes though. Now let's do the pink in the Makeup by Mario, the brown, and then the deep brown. So these are Makeup by Mario's and this is Natasha Denona. So they are very similar, to be honest. This is the warmest of Makeup by Mario's palette, but other than that, all the shades do lean more neutral and more cool tone. So these two, I feel like they're very similar, to be honest. These are very, very, very similar. Natasha. This is Natasha, and let's do 1 or 2 of these glossy by Makeup by Mario. So the first one is Natasha, and you can see that it has more pigment into it, infused. Like the translucency is not as, you know, these are very translucent, and these has more pigment. So yeah, I do feel like these are very similar, though in the eyes they're not gonna look very different. If you already have this one, I don't feel like, you know, you must grab this one by Makeup by Mario. So pretty much those are the main comparisons that I wanted to do. I was also asked about Wayne Goss's palette and his formulation, and I don't have any of Wayne Goss's palette. I only had the first one, and I wasn't in love with the formula, so that's no longer in my collection. So I don't have it to compare that one with, and I haven't tried any of his other palettes, which I think at this point I should, just for comparison purposes. But in general, I must say I really like this palette. I think it's beautiful. I think that the mattes are very creamy, very pigmented, very blendable. I love the glossy shades in here. I feel like this just give you a beautiful and sophisticated look. I mean, there's only so much you can do with a translucent shades. They do look very similar to each other, I'm not gonna lie. Like in my eyes, I applied 3 and 6, and it looks like I applied the same shade, kinda, right? Even though 3 is a little bit lighter, and then you get a little bit of a deeper glossy moment right there. It's not very noticeable, but I feel like this is a beautiful palette. I feel like anybody that loves neutral shades is gonna get a lot of use out of it. I love that you get a little pinky shade. I love that the shades are neutral, so it's gonna, you know, it's gonna suit a big range of skin tones. It's not gonna only be, you know, for a certain kind of skin complexion. So I really love the neutral shades in here. I feel like this is going to be a staple in my collection. It's gonna be a staple neutral palette. I have zero complaints on it. I love the magnetic closure. I did have his previous palettes, but again, no longer in my collection. I didn't love his matte formulation on the all matte palette, to be honest, so that's again no longer in my collection, and this is another kind of matte. So I do feel like he reformulated those shades, and that's why this is a little bit more expensive. I got it on sale. I got it for 20% off, so that was a super bonus and plus. If you were able to do that, I mean, kudos to you, because that's the way to go. But if you ask me if this is still worth the full price, I would say yes. For a neutral lover, for somebody that needs something easy and quick, I say yes. For somebody that is not a very expert on makeup application, I think that this is just very user friendly, very easy to apply, and again, because the shades are very neutral, I feel like they're very beautiful on many skin tones. So I am very impressed with this formulation. I love it. I love this palette much more than his 2 previous palettes, and I do feel like this is worth, you know, it's worth to try. Alright, my friends, that's it for today's video. Let me know in the comments, were you able to pick this up during this sale? Have you tried it? Any comments at all about the palette, any other comparisons that you want to see? We can go ahead and talk about that on my Instagram, so go ahead and make sure to follow me over there. But other than that, that's it. I hope this review was helpful in any way. It was, you know, informative enough to help you make a decision on whether or not you need this palette. And yeah, let's chat in the comments down there. Thanks so much, you guys, for love and support. So don't forget to share, like, and subscribe, and I'll catch you next time. Bye bye.